It's Tuesday. You might be watching this at a different time, though. So, wherever you are and whenever you're watching this, on Tuesdays at 8 a.m. on Facebook, I talk about triggers and tools to help you start to learn the pressure free method, use the pressure free method, and protect yourself from yourself. Before we get started today, I want you to think of somebody in your life who you know either suffers from anxiety, depression. They obviously are triggering the stress response a lot. They have a lot of stress in their life or a lot of stressors in their life, maybe at work, at home, um, just with what's going on today. Maybe 2020 threw them for a loop, and now current situations are. So if there's somebody that you know that's suffering, I really want to encourage you to share this out or share any of my videos out that you think might be important to them, or just connect them to me. Send them my website. Let them know that there's an answer for their suffering, because too many people today are really suffering unnecessarily. And I stand for that. I really stand for that. Even people who, if you have someone who's already in therapy, pressure free works very well with someone who's already in therapy. So it's not an either or deal. This is a method you can learn. I teach it to psychologists, therapists, and social workers. I teach it to business coaches. I teach it to people all over the world. So this is really something that can be so helpful to people who in my mind are unnecessarily suffering. We're going to talk about a big trigger today that might be happening in your world right now, and that's the news. News, interesting word, right? The news. We get news in all kinds of ways. Most of us get a lot of news through the media, but there's also news that just happens in the workplace. You find out a piece of news. Something's coming down, a new change with processes, something you need to do with HR. There's all the time we're getting pieces of news. And in our personal lives, we're getting pieces of news also. We're finding out about something going on with a relative. Something's going on with you. You go to your physician and receive results from a test you took. So that's news. News is a major trigger for a lot of people. Let's start first with media news and what you can do about it. So if you can't sleep at night, are you listening to the evening news? Not even the late night news, but the 6 p.m. news. Are you taking in news in the later part of your day? Because the news has been designed to trigger us and keep us locked in adrenaline flow. So we want to watch more and more and more of it. Have you ever just streamed on news for a long time? It's because they want to keep us locked in. So when it's sensationalized or overstated, you hear a lot of, like, in my opinion, that's not news, by the way, that's someone's opinion about news. You can get really sucked down into the rabbit hole of all kinds of news that will keep you locked in fight or flight. So you may need to decide how you're taking in your news. Stop watching it, maybe listen to it. If listening to it still triggers you, maybe read it. Reading is the least apt to trigger your stress response because you're not getting somebody else's voice involved. Someone else's voice could cause you to trigger. So if you're just reading it, you stand a much better chance of not triggering fight or flight. Also, if news is a trigger for you, finding out what's going on, relax your abs, go really wide here, put a little bit of a smile on your face, even though it might not be news you want to smile about, but just a little engagement here in your cheeks. That's going to help you as you're assessing this. So you can stay neutral, and well, you might not stay neutral, but you're not going to overreact and release stress hormones over reading the news or learning about something. At work and in your personal life, sometimes you need to gear up ahead of time. So if you know a particular announcement is going to be made at work, if you have a client call that you might be thinking, oh, this might be going a little wonky, first I want to stop you right there and assume success. So if you have some sort of meeting or something going on at work that you're already spinning negatively about, you're not there yet. And you don't know what's going to happen. People are very unpredictable. You probably know that, right? They're very unpredictable. One person in a room can change the whole tenor of the room. You have that power. I've helped clients, especially clients in C-suite positions, managers in companies, really change their way of being in meetings, and it totally changes what happens in the meeting. It's really incredible. It doesn't matter where you flow in the org chart, you can be that person. You can be wide, you can be strong, you can be calm, confident, courageous. That's what the pressure-free method is all about, helping you step into those ways of being so that no matter what's going on, you can think straight. You can come up with solutions and answers. So in your personal life, in your work life, when news comes that's not particularly helpful, let's put it that way, it could be bad news, not particularly helpful, staying pressure-free can help you get to solutions so much faster. Now, if it comes unexpectedly and you trigger the stress response, cut yourself a break. That's a recovery tool. I think I talked about it earlier in a video just a little while ago. Cut yourself a break, stay open, be gentle with yourself for the next few hours, because remember, those are the hours that you might say and do things you later regret. You might snipe back at someone and make the situation worse. I've done it. I'm sure you have too. So if you can cut yourself a break, realize you're in fight or flight, and maybe you need to zip your lips. That's a tool that I have learned to use a lot because I was very overreactive with my mouth. Anybody else with me? Like, that's the thing. You'll say or do something that you're like, oh crap, why did I say that? So it's because you're just trying to protect yourself. And if you had something happen when you were small and you had to protect yourself, you might have done it with your mouth instead of actions. You may not have fought with your fists, but you might have fought with your mouth. So that's aggression. That's aggressive. Zip your lips might help you in those situations. So watch for the news. I did a poll once at an event. It was a large event. I had hundreds of people coming through. And I did a poll and asked them what their top stressors were. So the top stressors are health, children. If the person had an ex, so there was a divorce, it was the ex-spouse, and the news. The news was a close third, so kind of tied. And by the way, with children, I was receiving from a lot of older people that adult children's problems were huge stressors for the parents, so the parents of adult children. So it wasn't just small children, but they were so worried for their adult children and their adult children's lives. But news is right up there. So watch out for the news, decide how you're going to take it in. Okay, you can even do that at work somewhat. Like if you know something's coming down, you're in a really great space in order to take it in. Same thing if you're in your personal life too. If you're having a discussion, just get yourself in a really great frame. Keep your breathing at a nice, slow pace. Prepare ahead of time. And you may need to zip your lips, especially if you do get the unexpected in your trigger, fight, or flight. Because what you say next is just going to be probably much of an overreaction to what's going on. I hope this is helpful. Again, if you need to reach out to me, just private message me on whatever social media you're watching this on. Just drop me a message. I would love to connect, and wishing you a great pressure-free day.